Finance Bill 2021 proposes to insert a new section 194Q to provide for deduction of tax by a buyer from the purchase of goods. The release of this news raised a lot many questions and queries by the businesses, right from the basic question like who is liable, under what provision, at what time of transaction, on what goods, and many other. Let's not get overwhelmed and take a deep breath here, as I have got a perfect man to the rescue for such a tedious situation. He is Manoj Malpani, a senior principal advisor of Bitsol India. Welcome Manoj to the show and to our rescue. How are you doing today?
I am good, Rohan. How are you?
Well, I am doing good too. How are things at your end?
Things are good with the God grace, and we are doing pretty well in terms of our operations. The team is good. There were certain setbacks, but if you look at the current situation, everybody is facing some other issues. But overall, things are very good for us.
Good to hear that, Manoj. Now coming to our situation of section 194Q, can you throw some light on this and also help us answer our first question today? Who is liable to deduct tax under section 194Q?
Correct. Rohan, before I come on the exact issue, I would like to just give you background about what we are going to cover today in terms of topic. TDS, which normally we always call in English is a funny language. The word TDS many a times also resembles to the word TDS, wherein you face a lot of issues when you undertake some compliances, and some compliances are tedious in nature, correct? So the word TDS resembles the another word from which we get little bogged down is a tedious kind of job. Now to increase this compliance burden, the government has introduced some more provisions under TDS, that is tax deduction at source. Now this tax deduction at source is not a new method. It's a pretty old method under which the tax are deducted at the source. And the best person who are, I would say, accustomed to this TDS is salaried employees. Whenever they get salaries, they are employed at the TDS. And similarly, there are close to 36 provisions under which the tax is deducted at source and paid to the government. Now, what has happened is, the question which you have asked on 194Q, the government has introduced a new section on which, under which the tax is deducted on the purchase of goods as well. Earlier it was majorly limited to services or foreign transaction. Now the ambit of TDS has been increased, and under section 194Q, government intend to deduct the tax on purchase of goods as well. Of course, there are certain conditions or certain criterias which the taxpayer need to look into it before deducting the tax. The first condition is the taxpayer who intend to deduct the tax, the previous year turnover should be more than 10 crore rupees. So if it is more than 10 crore rupees, then only TDS provision would be applicable on his purchase of goods. Second condition, he has purchased those goods from a resident supplier. So if the supplier is resident person, that means resident in India, then only tax needs to be deducted. And the tax would be deducted on value exceeding rupees 50 lakhs. So these are the three primary conditions which one has to really look into while deducting tax under section 194Q.
So Manoj, from when is it really applicable?
Now, very interesting question, Rohan. These provisions would be applicable, the deduction of tax provision would be applicable from 1st July 2021. Again, this was a budget amendment which was proposed in the budget of 21-22, and after the Finance Act enactment, these provision would be applicable from 1st July 2021. So whatever purchases you are making from 1st July 2021, the tax deducted at source needs to be deducted if, as I've said, the one from whom you have purchased is a resident supplier. Second, your purchase value is exceeding 50 lakhs and your own turnover is more than 10 crore rupees in previous financial year.
Manoj, time plays a crucial role in tax deduction. In this case, what shall be the timing of deduction of tax?
Yes, it's very important question, Rohan. The timing for deduction of tax, which is applicable for all section, is a time which is earlier of when you credit to that account or when you make the payment, whichever is earlier. Whichever is earlier, you have to deduct the tax on it.
Manoj, can you touch upon the deduction rate?
Rohan, the tax need to be deducted at 0.1% of purchase value exceeding 50 lakhs rupees. So you have to make it very clear that tax needs to be deducted only on an amount which is exceeding 50 lakhs. And another condition is that the supplier has to give you his PAN number. If they don't give you PAN number, then this TDS rate is enhanced from 0.1% to 5%.
Manoj, excuse me for my limited understanding here. As for me, 0.1% is really a nominal or maybe a very negligible amount. Why is the government invested so much in this 0.1%?
Rohan, I mean, what happens is in terms of TDS, the moment a transaction gets captured in TDS, the probability of reporting this transaction in respective income tax and books of accounts becomes very high, and a kind of database get accumulated with the government. As we know, in current situation, everybody, the data is gold, what we normally call it. And with this data, government want to collect as many information as they can, and basis which they can catch hold of person if they are not reporting their sales and purchases appropriately in their books of accounts. So as you have rightly said, the amount do not matter, it's very minuscule amount, but what government is looking at it as an reporting of those transactions appropriately in respective books of accounts.
So Manoj, I very well know that in the year 2020 there was the introduction of TCS on the sale of goods, and in this current situation there is TCS on the purchase of goods. It feels so much so a contradicting and conflicting case to me. Don't you feel this too?
So I understand your question from where you are coming. In 2020, the government has introduced TCS on sale of goods. Like if somebody is selling goods more than 50 lakhs, they are supposed to collect the tax from the buyer. And now in 2021, the government has came up with a provision of TDS on purchase of goods. Now these two provisions would always overlap on each other, as you have rightly said. And sometimes some transaction would be whether I am supposed to deduct TDS as well as whether the supplier is also supposed to collect TCS from me. So if you look at the section of TCS, that is 206 C1H, which clearly says that if some transactions are subjected to provision of tax deduction at source, then on those transactions the seller will not collect the TCS. Now what happens is, by this proviso, the government has made it clear that whenever the TDS provisions are applicable, in those cases TCS will not be applicable. So that's how the provisions of section 206 have been drafted, and logically so, because on one transaction, as I've said, the intent of government is to collect the information, and on one transaction somebody is collecting tax and somebody is also deducting tax. It means there is a duplication of reporting of that transaction, deducting of tax and compliance thereof, and government understands that, and basis which what they have said is, if the transaction is also subjected to TDS, then TCS will not be collected. And to simply answer your question, Rohan, if somebody is selling the goods and the buyer is deducting TDS, then in that case TCS will not be collected by that seller.
In this situation, whose is the primary responsibility?
Lot of questions are coming on this issue, that if one transaction is covered in TCS as well as TDS, who will trigger it? I mean, who is the primary responsibility? Of course, the primary responsibility lies on the TDS, the buyer, who is liable to deduct the tax. And once he deducts, then only you get away with the TCS applicability. There would be situation, there would be a gray area wherein the supplier may not know whether the buyer would deduct tax or not. So in this situation, what the best practice the supplier should do is, before collecting the tax, they should make a communication with their customers that the TDS provisions have been made applicable from 1st July 2021. If you fit into those provisions, please let us know so that we will not collect tax on you. And that communication will help the taxpayer to be very clear in terms of what compliance they are supposed to do. I understand initially there would be a lot of gaps into implementation of this provision. People will collect tax, people will deduct tax, some transaction may be reported twice. But if you want to be very clear from day one, the best part is you make a communication with your customer, you tell them that these provisions are applicable and get a confirmation from them that whether they would be deducting TDS or not. If they say they do not fit into TDS provision, then the supplier will continue to collect tax if the value exceeds 50 lakhs as per the TCS provision.
My next question comes from more of a international trade perspective. Is TDS applicable on import of goods?
Rohan, as I've said in the initial part of the podcast, that TDS provisions are applicable only on if you are buying from a resident person. Now, what happens in case of import of goods is the supplier becomes a non-resident. If he is a non-resident, then you are not supposed to deduct the tax. So on import transactions, you are not supposed to deduct the tax. Now in imports, there are other transactions also. Normally people enter into an high sea sale transaction, or there are transshipment transactions wherein they buy goods from a resident person, but technically the goods are imported imported into India. Now what happens in this case? In this case, as I've said, the resident, you have to see from whom you are buying. If you are buying from a resident suppliers, even though it is an import or from a bonded warehouse or high sea sale transaction, you are supposed to deduct tax on the same.
Manoj, allow me to bring you to the fundamental question now. We have been mentioning goods quite often in our conversation. Are goods defined anywhere? If so, where, and where should we refer them?
Yeah, I mean, this is a pertinent issue which comes in any tax law. When you try to implement, you try to interpret every word, and every word needs, you look at the definition of every word. Just to tell you, Income Tax Act do not define the word goods. You have to look at the other acts to really take the definition of goods. The Central Goods and Service Tax Act, which is an indirect tax act, defines what is the meaning of goods, which says all movable property, and there are specific definitions which is given. So we can take that definition and say that whatever are classified as in goods under the CGST Act or from a sale of goods act perspective, those would be termed as goods. And whatever not, and if suppose if you look at the CGST Act, the CGST Act says anything other than goods is a service. So if it is a service, then 194Q provisions would not be applicable, that is TDS on purchase of service under this section would not be applicable. Of course, for services there are different other sections which are applicable, but under this section only goods, on goods you are supposed to deduct the tax, and the definition of goods is not given under Income Tax Act. You have to go back to the other tax laws, one which is CGST Act, or another act you can go to is Sale of Goods Act.
Our transactions in securities through stock exchanges shall be subject to TDS under this provision?
Rohan, when it comes to transaction in security, the TDS provisions have right now not clarified to an extent of whether it is applicable or not. But if you look at, we were also discussing on TCS provisions on sale of goods, at that time the government has clarified that TCS will not be collected on transactions in securities. So what I am expecting is similar clarification, exemption would come for TDS also on transaction of security. So we don't need to pay TDS on transactions in securities.
Continuing to my previous question, does electricity also fall under TDS?
Yeah, when it comes to electricity, Rohan, I mean there are a lot of cases on electricity which has happened in past to decide whether electricity is movable, whether electricity is goods and all those things. If you look at one Supreme Court judgment wherein it is clearly said that electricity is a goods, and even if you go to the Customs Tariff Act, the electricity is also classified under chapter heading 2716. So 2716 0000 covers electricity as in goods. So as it's in goods and movable, naturally it is covered under the definition of goods. Now second question comes, if it covers under goods, whether I am supposed to deduct TDS. So again, as I've said earlier, if you look at the earlier clarification issued by government for TCS, they have said that electricity would be excluded from for the purpose of tax collection on sale of electricity. Similarly, what I am expecting is similar clarification would be applicable for TDS as well, because they don't intend to collect data on electricity, TDS, TCS, because in any case, if you look at today's electricity, most part of India is governed by the state government entities or entity owned by government. Only some pockets which are there wherein the private electricity suppliers are there. So when the government itself owns the data, so they don't need to rely on further data by applying TDS and TCS provisions.
Manoj, how is the TDS calculated in the case of invoice? Will it be calculated on the total value including GST?
Rohan, on this issue, if you look at the earlier clarification issued by CBDT, stating when the same issue came for deduction of TDS on service receipts under section 194J, at that time the CBDT has clarified that TDS will not be deducted on the GST amount. We can expect that similar stand would be taken by CBDT on it, that this has to be, TDS has to be deducted only on the basic value and not on the GST amount.
Whether TDS has to be deducted on advance payment to the seller?
If you are making advance payment to the supplier on account of purchase of goods, then you are supposed to deduct the TDS on even advance payment made to the supplier.
Let's say I have purchased goods before the 1st of July 2021 and have made an advance payment too. Will it be subject to TDS?
Correct. So this is you are more of an, I would say, tax expert now, Rohan. You are picking questions which are very important for the all taxpayers to understand. If you are making an advance, you have made an advance payment before the applicability of TDS, certainly you don't need to consider that amount for deduction of TDS. You have to only consider amount of advance which is paid subsequently after application of these provisions.
Should the tax be deducted on the purchase of goods from one branch to another?
Rohan, if you look at, before I come on the income tax provision, I will go to the GST provision. If you look at GST provision, the GST is applicable even on branch transfer. Like if you are supplying from one state to another, to your own registration, it is applicable. But when it comes to TDS, they look at PAN as in base, so that the transaction has to be happen between two different legal persons. So if you are transferring goods from one branch to another branch, though in your books of accounts you technically say that it is supplied from one location to another, the TDS provision will not be applicable on any kind of branch transfer which you undertake.
Manoj, if I am a seller of some goods with who also has multiple units, whether purchases made from different units need to be aggregated?
Yes, there can be possibility that if one company having multiple units and their suppliers are supplying goods to all different units, in such situation the limit of 50 lakhs has to be computed on a PAN basis. So you have to aggregate all transaction and then look at the limit. So you have to maintain a clear ledger. You don't you will not made it applicable unit wise or state wise. You have to aggregate all purchases and then look at whether it is subjected to TDS or not.
Manoj, let me ask you one of the most important and star marked question. What is the due date to deposit the TDS?
So Rohan, for due date of TDS, there is no separate due date which is defined for depositing of TDS on purchase of goods. It's same as the other TDS which we deposit, that is for normal taxpayers. For the month of April to February, the date is 7th of subsequent month, and for the month of March it is 30th April to it. You can see on the screen the details about the due date. If you look at the data and all those things, ultimately all these data would be submitted to the government by basis of filing the returns. So returns makes an important part of this entire activity. As you have said, it's the tax rate is minuscule. So ultimately from where this information would go to the government is by way of returns. So returns are the method by which government collects the information from the taxpayer. So all these information you are supposed to disclose in TDS return. You can see on the screen the due date of TDS return. TDS returns are quarterly returns. So for every quarter there are different due dates which you can see on your screen.
Now help us understand further. The government already has sales data via e-invoices. Why is still the government insisting on the data through TDS?
As I've said, you have become a tax expert and you are mixing two different laws. If you look at e-invoice, your question is very valid. The e-invoice was introduced last year under the GST provisions, and phase wise the government is making it mandatory for all. As on date, e-invoice is applicable for taxpayers having turnover more than 50 CR. So certainly government has all sales data which they are getting from e-invoice. Now this TDS, by way of TDS, they are further assimilating the data. The days, as you are rightly saying, the days are not far. If the government already has some data, then there is no point in again assimilating the same data under the different act. However, there has to be one thought process while collecting all these information. Right now we can see that it is missing, but once e-invoice get mandatory for all suppliers, you can expect that these provisions would go. Both TDS and TCS on sale and purchase of goods would go. That's what you can expect.
Thank you, Manoj, for answering questions which are arising because of section 194Q. Now there would still be more questions, queries, ifs and buts which will bog down a business owner or the concerned department in an organization. So in this case, how can BitSol help?
Correct, Ron. You know BitSol India is one of the pioneer management consulting firm, and we take care of all these activities for our clients. We assist our clients right from mapping on what transaction TDS would be applicable, what communication you should make, and after making your systems ready, we also help you in reconciliations of what tax your guys have deducted and whether they have properly reported in their returns. Because what happens is, if they don't report in their returns, it is your financial loss, correct? So they have to properly report so that you can take the credit. All the tax which your customers are deducting should reflect in 26AS. So we help our clients in doing that reconciliations. We help clients in communicating with suppliers, customers, if they are not properly recording the transaction in TDS return in a timely manner. Because what happens, we have seen, Rohan, that in many cases if you take delayed action, you tend to lose on it. So what we help our clients is to take action on time. We help them in doing quarterly reconciliation and identifying where the mismatches are, and ultimately it's all about your own money getting stuck up in reconciliation, which you should understand and then they take action. So we help clients in reconciling, we help client in identifying the mismatches, we help client in also communicating with their customers and suppliers so that whatever tax is deducted is properly accounted for and it is get reflected on the 26 AS.
Coming to my last question, what would be a suggestion or advice to the business trying to unwire themselves with the new provision?
Rohan, as I've said at the beginning of my remark that TDS, the word resembles with a TDS kind of work or compliances which the government has introduced. I fully understand that it's a really tough task to manage all these things from 1st July. But you have to really work on it. You have to understand. First and foremost thing is you have to first understand whether you are covered or required to deduct tax under this provision. You have to do your self-assessment by looking at your previous year turnover, looking at from whom you are purchasing, whether it is exceeding 50 lakhs, and you have to make your systems ready to comply with this.
Thank you, Manoj, for joining us on the Digital BitSoul show. And we hope that we get an opportunity to have more such conversations with you in future.
Thank you, Rohan. It's all my pleasure to interact with you. I've seen your past podcast of our BitSoul, wherein you have conducted in very best and nice way. I hope this would be another chapter in our podcast series. And you also take care and stay healthy, stay safe.
On that note, this is a wrap of this particular episode, and I hope some of your questions have been answered from this episode. To know more, you can always connect with our office. The details are right there on your screen. And please stay home, stay safe, take care. This is your host, Rohan Arote, signing off. Take care. If you are thinking of GST, think of BitSoul.